Okay, hey guys, this is a 5-note scale exercise warm-up, and it's not anything super fancy or fun, but it is a really good exercise that you're not ever going to outgrow. You can be a beginner and do this, and then it's also great for the more advanced player. For me specifically, I can definitely tell in my playing if I've been working on this exercise. So I'm going to be running through these relatively quickly just for time's sake, but don't play them at a pace that's faster than you can play accurately, because this is an exercise in accuracy as well. So definitely, keep these at a pace that you can play all the notes accurately and, keep time. So I'm going to start by doing an ascending and descending, leading with my right hand, and then I'll lead with my left hand, and then I'll kind of break down the individual pieces. So that was the right hand lead, here's the left hand lead. All right, so I'll start with the right hand and we'll talk about each individual thing, but you kind of get the idea for what this sounds like. We're playing 5-note scales up and down on each note in our diatonic key. So that could be any one of our little box shapes. But for this video, I am working in the key of G. So I'm going to be doing a 5-note scale up and down on G, on A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So I'm going to call these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then all the notes that I play in these 5-note scales up and down are also going to fall within this scale, which means I won't be playing any notes other than G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Okay, so the first one is pretty simple. It's straight up and down. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, skip over to 1. Same with when I do this next one up. On the 2, we're going to do the same thing. And actually for me, the more challenging part of this exercise is playing those straight up and down patterns. But that's a great part of the exercise too, because there are a number of tunes where you do need to be able to run straight up the bridge in a straight line, and sometimes it's easier to cross over. But when we get to 3, the third note in our scale, if we were to continue that pattern, then we have this F sharp or F natural up here, and we need an F sharp, which is the leading tone in G. So we run out of notes and we can't do that straight up and down pattern anymore. Now we could go up as far as we can and then hit our F sharp over here. But normally I try to, if I'm going to be crossing from the right side of the bridge to the left side of the bridge, I want my left hand to get there before my right hand. I want to lead that crossover with my left hand so that I don't have, this clicking awkward thing. And the same thing goes for crossing over the valley, and the same thing goes for if I'm crossing from the left to the right, I want to lead that with my right hand as well. I mean, with some, chromatic stuff where you only have one option for a certain note, then you might find yourself having to do some weird crisscrossy things with your hammers. But for the most part, we can find options that allow you to do that a little bit more fluidly. So I'm going to play 3 notes on the right and 2 notes on the left. And you'll see how my left hand winds up being the first hand to cross the bridge. And then the same thing goes for the 4. Now I could do a different pattern, and that I am crossing my left hand over, but watch what happens when I do that, skipping over the note on the way back down. That becomes awkward again. So it just makes sense to repeat this 3-2 pattern, 2 times. We do it on the 3rd scale degree, and then we're going to do it again on the 4th scale degree. And now when we move to the 5th scale degree, we're ending 4 like this, right? It doesn't make sense, again, for me to, cross my right hand over since I'm leading again with my right hand. That doesn't make sense. And since I have that note is repeated up here, that's what I wind up doing. So I'm going to play the 5-note scale on the 4th scale degree and move into the 5th so you can see how it works. I'm going to start by playing the 5 over here, and then I'm going to play the rest of the scale and fall into an up and down pattern on this side when I go through the scale the second time. So. And then these are all straight up and down. Right, so I'm not even going to cover that because they're all straight up and down. Once you get everything else is straight up and down until we start coming back down again. We have to go through that same little portion where we just don't have the notes. So now we're coming down. So we're gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, similar to how we went up. These are all the same. Now if I were to continue that 5-note thing, straight up and down, we're going out of the key again. Can't do that, so we have to figure out, can we just do the same thing that we did on the way up, 2 on the left, 3 on the right. Now, at this point, we can start. There's really nothing awkward about just starting that next scale. That would be perfectly fine if you want to do it that way. It's totally cool. However, I happen to do it a little bit differently because usually by the time I'm finishing up the scale pattern, my brain's starting to go and I forget what I'm doing. So I will often do this. So I've got half of the scale, I'm doing a 3-2, or 2 on the left, 3 on the right pattern. And then I go back into the up and down pattern. So that particular scale can go either direction. You can do a 3 on the right, 2 on the left pattern, or you can go straight up and down. It doesn't really matter. It just happens, for me, that I often forget what's going on, and then halfway through that scale I remember that I need to be going up and down, and then I can change and finish off the way that it's supposed to be. So now with the left hand, it's going to be essentially reversed from the right hand, which makes perfect sense. We can't do 3 on the right, 2 on the left anymore, because when we start with our left hand, that's going to make the crossover awkward again. So we need even number on the right and an odd number on the left in order for the left-hand crossover to work out. These are still the same. This is still the same. Now, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4 if I wanted to, and you may want to. I like to minimize the number of different patterns that I need to remember, so I'll do 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. And then this is one of those hybrid one where I could do this. You know, I can do the 2 and 3, or I can do straight up and down. So I will usually split that in half and go. And then all of these ones are straight up and down. Whatever, I sped that up faster than I can play it, obviously. So coming back down, straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. All right, now I ran out of notes because I can't hit that one, so I'm gonna start going back into my 3 on the left, 2 on the right pattern. Three on the left, 2 on the right. And now this is similar to what happened when I was coming up with the right hand. It doesn't make sense for me to cross my hand over, so I'm just gonna hit this 1, and then 4, and then into my up and down. And that's the entire exercise. Again, you know, if you need to stop and start so that you can see what I'm doing, I just didn't want this video to be like 25 minutes long if I did this very slowly, because I think that you can get the idea. It's a great exercise in learning when to cross over the bridge, depending on where you're at in a scale.